All right, welcome. Thank you for everybody for coming tonight. We're going to talk a little bit about the possibility of ATV access being an access route on Staples Hill. Like I say, thanks everybody for coming. We're gonna start off. We're gonna set up a rough schedule or agenda for the night. We're gonna have the request came in from Hartford ATV Club. We're gonna have them start. Then the Canton ATV president is here to talk as well for anything that's questions that are needed. We also have Brian Milligan here and a bunch of law enforcement from different agencies. So we'll let them talk and anything they want to add. And then we'll open the floor to questions or comments for all the residents that are here. We'll let you guys talk as much as we can. We are going to put a hard stop at 7 o'clock just because that way we don't let it roll on too long. If there are still people that want to talk after that point, we will definitely reschedule and have another meeting to make sure that everybody gets heard. Any questions get answered and things like that. So to start, Dave, you want to get started?
Hi, good evening. I'm David Stiles, president of the Hartford ATV Club. We just recently formed. It was kind of all started where there was a group of people in Hartford that wanted some road access in the town. And Hartford's been kind of landlocked as far as ATVs go. We do have sections of the trail that are, snowmobile trails and all that. But this group basically went to our town select board and got ATV access. So then we've been working with Sumner's Club and also Canton's Club in order to try and so that Hartford's not as landlocked. Basically, we could get to the trails in Canton, we could get to the trails in Sumner and Peru, and kind of where this all started. And really, there is no good section of woods or anything like that to get through from Hartford to Canton. And so we were looking at Staples Hill. Like I said, we've been working with Brian with the Canton ATV Club real closely and basically just starting this process of discussing Staples Hill. So thank you.
Brian.
Well, I don't have much to say. Dave said pretty well what it is. We're just trying to work together, see what happens. Go from there.
Brian Milligan.
Guy, I guess. My name's Brian Milligan. I'm
You want to come to the front, actually? That way it's easier for everybody.
Really well.
Just to make it easier for everybody to hear.
I did a Western Maine ATV trail, actually recreational trail coordinating for the state, focusing mostly on ATV trails. And I guess the reason I want to be here is I want people to understand that access routes have standards. We need to make sure that everyone understands what those are. And the other thing I want to clarify is access routes are not ATV trails. They don't come under the state ATV trail system. They don't come under the state's signage system. So they are entirely separate. This is between clubs and the municipality. So I just want people to understand that these aren't ATV trails like people think. And that's why I want to make sure everyone understands that there are standards. And if you were trying to do it on a state DOT road, they have an entirely different set of conditions and standards that you have to adhere to. That's actually an application process. And then there are certain standards that apply. So that was my big point with coming here, was to say that access routes aren't ATV trails, and there's a certain standard that should be observed. Number one, the signage has to be correct. For one thing, you don't want a club to direct a bunch of people onto an access route without them understanding what their limitations are. There's age restrictions. So there are things there that everybody needs to understand. And the only way you're gonna understand that is see the proper sign up there, so that they can make that judgment. So that's why I'm here, just to say there are standards out there, need to be adhered to, and they don't fall under the actual ATV trail system.
Can you elaborate what the standards are?
While you're standing here, can you tell us the standards?
Well, right now, the standard would be whatever the town says. Now, if you're doing it on DOT, they have signage regulation, they have a specific sign. Matter of fact, what DOT does is if a trail section gets approved for access, they put the signs up and then they charge the club. Because well, we've seen some of the signs that are out there everywhere, and, you know, one thing is, this past year, I was trying to work with clubs, getting them to understand some of the signage issues that I'm seeing, and one is signs on telephone poles. Not supposed to put signs, and again, on access roads, ATV signs aren't allowed.
The signage, we use them on all the hill, the DOT signs.
Right.
If anybody's been up there, them are the signs that we use.
Right, they're an approved sign, it's, I don't know the dimensions, but DOT has a little different, theirs is green background with white lettering. They put them in and they charge a buck, so they have some standards, so they're putting them out to their standards. So if you have a speed limit of 40 miles an hour higher, you have to have a sign every half mile, that's a sign on either side of the road. And if it's 35 miles an hour or less, it's every quarter mile. So there are standards out there, but to get an access route on the DOT, there's a permit process that starts with Brian Bronson at the state. He'll look it over and make sure all the information is before we send it to DOT.
If you had to give us three of the main standards, you would say age, what else would you consider being a standard?
Yeah, not the state roads, I think the
Yeah.
town road.
Town roads, I would think that you'd want to have some idea of a speed limit. I mean, this is something the municipality is gonna have to talk about. These machines aren't designed for 40 miles an hour. And on paved roads anyway. So I would just think the township, if they have a section road they're gonna approve, there should be some understanding between the club and the town or the municipality of what they expect there. If there's a speed limit, you can get speed limits, signs, just like the ATV access signs.
You have to understand the speed limit's really not enforceable.
That's true, but if the town says this will be an access route, but we want you to do this, it's an advice. Exactly, I mean, that's some of the problems you have with an access route, is what the actual legal.
And that's why we wanted law enforcement. Thank you very much. The law enforcement we have here, do you have any things good, bad to say about these routes that you've seen?
And things that you can and can't do in terms of enforcement, I guess. So how things would be from your end?
The word service, he said they're not designed to be on the road. The speed limits are gonna be a suggestion. Obviously, the sheriff's office could enforce like a motor vehicle speed limit if they're above the posted state speed limit. But as far as Title 12, game warden, AT&T enforcement, the only thing we have is a reckless operation and an operating to endanger. Those are both crimes. The standard to prove that is very high. The district attorney's office is not interested in those cases, to be quite honest with you. They dismiss a lot of our tickets and make deals. Nobody's held accountable. They're not interested in us writing ATV tickets right now because they're still backlogged from COVID. So if you get somebody flying up and down Staples Hill and they're violating your posted suggested speed limit, there's nothing the warden service is going to be able to do until it gets reckless or somebody gets hurt. The sheriff's office may be able to do something with a posted motor vehicle speed limit issue with their radar, but we don't enforce speed limits.
Okay, on that note there, are these clubs gonna be carrying liability insurance? If they get in accidents up there, you know, I mean, as motor vehicle operators, we have to have a liability insurance. what about these operators of these ATVs? You know, we have logging trucks on that road, well, especially on the upper section there. We have farm tractors out on the road in the summertime. We have haying operations going on and stuff like that, trucks coming in and out of the field doing haying operations. And, I'm just wondering who's gonna be liable if one of these ATVs causes an accident up there. You know?
Yeah.
That's a big concern to me, and also the noise.
The state.
I moved up there for peace and quiet.
I say I'm gonna look at law enforcement for the answer on that
Require
one.
Insurance on.
I'm sure if you.
Go ahead, Rich.
Well, they're, right now, their speed limits, they come down the hill, bad out of hell, and, we see some of them four-wheelers come down, they keep the speed limit up. They go fast down by there, they don't look, but they go by somebody's house, you drive out, somebody's gonna get hurt. And when people got a bedroom right here, and you get all these things coming down the hill, they're racing their thing up, they gotta keep you awake all night.
ATV trails are not open at night, correct?
Yes, the trails are open.
Yes, they are.
The trails are open, but a town can limit, and that's one thing that we had discussed, is limiting the access roads to, dusk. And most people aren't out on trails at night anyway, unless they're hunting or whatnot, but as far as access trails, you can limit that. Also, to this gentleman's question, the ATV clubs are holding liability insurance. The liability used to be covered by the state, and last year they decided not to cover a lot of the clubs themselves. And so the clubs have been getting liability insurance.
Liability insurance for somebody else. that
Yeah,
gets it,
exactly. That's
Or for yourself.
For basically as a club, they're getting liability insurance.
for their members.
And the other thing too is landowners, and this strays a little bit away from the public roadways, but landowners are exempt from any liability as well. So if you get permission for a trail on your land and somebody gets hurt or whatever, the landowner is exempt.
Can't be sued.
Correct, they can't be sued.
And the loudest thing on Church Street, I don't know, not far from Single Hill, is motorcycles. Complain about those.
Yeah, charts with no.
And they're throwing a lot back to the reason, any is riding probably a little fast, because it's illegal to be on Staples Hill and Church Street, so they're trying to get by without getting caught. Once you make it, you open it up to the public, you're gonna see everybody slow down.
I mean, I don't want to say, so, I'll be honest with you, I haven't really heard a lot of loud four wheelers coming down, most of them are just kind of slowly making up through to their families, trying to make it up through. I haven't really heard, I don't know if anybody else has, but, and they haven't really been disrespectful. My biggest concern with those people coming down there is the speed limit posted on that road. Right now, I think it's exactly, but amount of houses that have been put through there, and people just in vehicles going up that road, and going 40 miles plus, right? And I'm pretty good with that. But I would think that would be addressed, it needs to be addressed, you're gonna put this on here, to lower down our speed limit on that hill.
That's oddly enough that 35 miles an hour going up and 25 miles an hour going down. I don't know if anybody knows that. Different, it's different speed limit depending on which way you're going.
Really? Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Emily is absolutely right. It's 35 miles an hour going up the hill and 20, nobody will be easy to one up.
The opposite.
Yeah.
No, that's not the only road we can't.
Can she go first, Brian?
I just want to say, I'm from Hartford, we just got road access, I live on Town Farm Road. Before we got road access, cars and ATVs would come down our road 40, 50 miles an hour because they were trying to get where they were going and not get caught. Now that we got road access, I have not seen anybody go by my house more than 25 miles an hour. They are all respectful since we've gotten the access. It's made a big difference, huh? Exactly, Bob Dylan just told us.
We have to go through some of that.
Technically, they can get a ticket, travel over a certain distance, right? Yeah, it's 500 yards
Yeah.
right now. So, and I haven't seen any of the signs in Hartford, as far as I'm concerned, there are no ATV access routes in Hartford right now.
We had someone in town.
Just really been putting down.
He took them down.
Well, they haven't been posted yet because the club formed right at the end of summer, right at the end of the season. So all of the various signs for the trails and access roads aren't gonna be posted until like April.
So if it's posted correctly, they'd be allowed to drive at a reasonable prudent speed to the extreme right-hand side. They have to give way to motor vehicle traffic, pedestrians, obviously. But again, unless they're reckless and I can prove that their operation is putting themselves or someone else at risk of serious bodily or injury, prove beyond a reasonable doubt to the district attorney's office, there's no enforcement of that speed limit suggestion.
Brian?
Like Dave said, it's a time, like 8 o'clock in the morning to 8 at night. The traffic.
But again, not really enforced.
No,
It's
but
not-
I mean,
it's not a-
like you said,
It's not like
yeah,
statute, you can suggest, all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
but it's- If it happens and you call us to complain, we're
Yeah.
probably not gonna respond.
Rick, you had your hand up?
Yes, cost of signage. I know the town's gonna pay for the signage. No.
no.
ATV club.
So,
I take that as a no.
The ATV club will
The
pay.
town can help if they want.
Someone over here had their hands up. Yeah.
I just wanted to go over the fact that Rockford and Byron, I have a place up there, they've been doing it for 15, 20 years, and have had no issues with any collisions on other vehicles. I mean, safety wise, you have so much field of view, and generally, when you post an access route up there, it's 25 miles an hour on Main Street, on the main drag, Roxbury Pond, and ATVs are 15. Vehicles are 25, but ATVs are 15. You keep them slower, and you make them yield right away to oncoming traffic. So, and I'd like to ask the board and service and the chair.
We get valid complaints up there. Have you had any have you had any issues with crashes? Yeah, crashes, speed, alcohol.
On access routes in town?
Who's coming out?
Yeah.
We've asked though, I've called it on the state.
But a lot-
What's that?
A lot of accidents.
On the weekends and in
It's
summer.
ignorant people, but we're not all
On the
ignorant.
roads?
No, but the ones that are wrecking, those that are.
South Arm Road is brutal.
It's,
Oh, like with that,
We get complaints up there every weekend.
because of the remoteness.
People doing 50, 70 miles an hour. Yeah.
Your proposed route access for Staples Hill, is it the entire length of Staples Hill? Where do you propose coming out onto the main road?
Currently, we're working on our trail system, going to Bear Mountain, also part of the rail bed, places like that, but the access roads that were granted in Hartford were pretty much the secondary town roads in order for residents to get to the various trailheads. So at this point, I mean, a lot of Church Street and Staples Hill would be one of those access points. And one thing that people worry about also, and it's been brought up tonight, is, accountability. And right now, when people are doing something illegal and they're again, the comment is, oh, they're trying to race here or there because they don't want to get caught. People become much more accountable once that access route is official and there are clubs involved. Because then the club presidents are the ones getting complaints. And all the members and all the riding community realizes that, hey, if this gets shut down, we're out of luck. So people are much more accountable than when they were just doing it illegally. Because you're always gonna have idiots that are gonna break the law. But when you have rules in place, you have the proper signage and all those things, then people are much more accountable.
You have more eyes up there watching it.
Correct.
If that was the case, though, we wouldn't have cars speeding down 108. I mean, no.
Now,
I'm just saying that.
Say something. My name's Stephanie, when you're from County Sheriff's Office. A lot of times people will complain, if people are anti-ATV, they will complain even if they're
True.
driving with due regard.
No, really?
Regard. Listen, we get those all.
We got them awkward.
You know, how many times people are going 70 miles an hour down Route 108 and the speed limit's 45, 50? Everyone living here, speed. No, I promise you, if you say you don't speed, you're a liar. ATV riders, hill riders, no different. Right? This is Maine, this is vacation land, right? It's an outdoor recreational enthusiast for all the week. People come up here today. I personally like ATV riding. I said the more access trails that you have the opportunity to, I think it's only gonna improve your real estate value. And it's gonna intrigue people to come into your towns and spend money.
So covering the county, have you guys had a lot of experience, I mean, a lot of issues with ATV and access routes?
I haven't, no, not personally, no. Because the warden service obviously handles most of those. like,
Right.
anyway. I do have a lot of issues with people going down 108 to do 130.
I do too.
Yeah. we all-
Every day.
You guys talk about people drinking and driving. I can tell you right now, I can go sit out there and get probably 3 or 4 OUIs on 108.
Mhm.
There's no difference.
Please do.
People drink and
Yes.
drive, they're gonna drink and drive in their ATV.
He's exactly right.
Yeah,
Stay a little more.
Mac?
I'm not, or I guess I'm against, having access on Staples Hill Road. I like to ride dirt bikes and quads and then just as much as the next guy. But people fly over the hill in front of my house, I'm at the top of the hill. I've almost been, T-boned there more times than I can count, you can't see.
By
So
ATVs or by vehicles?
Well, by vehicle, that's true. So I'm imagining, some nice quad is, puttering down the hill at 25 miles an hour in front of my house. Big rig, logging truck comes barreling over the top at 60 miles an hour and just flattens that guy. You can't see him.
It's
So
a tough one.
there's a lot of speed. They're also in the narrow road, I think they're 10 lane. On the right-hand side of the road, half of it's deep ditch, you're not gonna escape that way, and the other half is curved, you're not gonna get out that way. And on the other side of the road, it's mostly creek, except Rick's house. There's no place to go, narrow lanes, and Staples Hill Road, for a town road, is a relatively busy road. We got the tractor trailer trucks use it, the logging trucks use it, the milk truck uses it. All the residents, use it, so it's, it's not just a little low dump road that, connects 2 farms out in the netherworld. It's a relatively busy road, so I'm just worried that, someone's gonna get clocked on that. And, no one's gonna enforce it, no one's gonna enforce the daytime hours, no one's gonna enforce the speed limit. So I think we're just setting it up for, getting hurt up there.
Right?
Now, he's having problems with vehicles coming by his house. Should maybe a town have a caution sign? I mean, I know it ain't gonna work, but I mean.
Exactly.
Maybe
a caution sign.
Christine?
I have to agree with Matt in regards to the speed of traffic going down over our hill. And we've lived on the hill for 20 years now. And at Staples Hill is not an access route at this point in time. But we have a number of ATVs going up the hill at all hours, like you alluded to. And they don't stay on the side of the road. We have seen them weaving back and forth, we've seen them racing and,
Lawns.
yeah, and it is a concern. If we had one of the little ones run out into the road, Archie, you'd have two little girls, you'd have Bryce. You know, these vehicles do not stop because of the rate of speed of the cars coming down over to you. That's my biggest concern. So that it's stop.
And this is a quiet time of year, wait until the summer.
Yeah.
Is there a difference between doing like, and I really don't know the answer, a local access as opposed to opening it up as a trail system?
Good question.
The people that live right in Hartford can go this way, and these people can go this way, but we're not saying, hey, if you live in Farmington, you can drive to
Yeah.
South.
I want to say.
If you open it as an access road, it's an access.
It's an access road.
I mean, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure if you open it as an access route, it's an access route.
Correct.
Yeah. Yeah,
The next town to us is Peru. They've had ATV access on practically every road in town, including right down Main Street. And they haven't had, that I know of, any issues. And anything can happen, accidents happen. And you're always gonna have some foolish people, whether they're driving a car or snowmobile, an ATV, or motorcycle. I mean, you see it every day. And, to single out one group and say that they're the cause, ain't, it's the same guy that's in his car speeding or reckless driving, you may do the same on an ATV, but as a club, we catch these people, I can tell you that, I'm gonna chew them and do them. And,
Yeah,
we can't let that happen.
Yeah, but you gotta be careful about confronting some people too. You should let the law take care of that. You get a hell of a mess.
Well, the laws are always there.
Well,
I mean, it's something that we can always try to, and then revoke if it doesn't work.
the state town has the right to take it away anytime.
Right, and that's why, they gave us 6 months in Hartford.
is that, okay.
There was no accidents, there was nothing that happened, no complaints.
Did it ever stop?
And Peru's been doing it forever. And they're still doing it. And it brings people into town. I know everybody, when we opened up access in Hartford, everybody was coming to me and saying, well, can we go down to Canton now? I said, Canton's another town. I said, but everybody wants to go to the stores and the filling station, Canton Variety and the Big Apple. These stores are missing out on potential business for sure.
Yeah, but you have
So-
to think about the people who live on people, so.
So if either Dan or Dave or Brian, if Staples Hill was an access route, what does that open for the trail system? What would that give people in either Canton or Hartford or surrounding towns? What would it give them for options on places to
Well,
go?
for people in Canton, they'd be able to, we've opened a trail on Bear Mountain.
Mhm.
And we've got an access that we're working on right now in Peru. 99% done. So,
You could hit Buckfield on, I guess, 89.
right.
Well, be able to get on the trail.
Yeah, it allows Staples Hill residents to get onto the trail system even in Canton.
Right, I was just thinking outside of the town of Canton, what it would open
I
up
believe
for
it
the
was opened up
possibilities.
Thought trail, and then Wilton just opened up, a very large, ATV access route. One where I think you can go,
You ain't gonna-
correct me if I'm wrong, from Wilton, you can get up to almost
Rangeley.
Rangeley, right?
Mm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the whistle stop right now.
Depending on drainage.
Pretty much.
It's done for a while.
Just do it in the back.
Bob Lawton, president of the Western. I've been going to a lot of meetings up in Bolton on the access that takes you to the temple. And I'll tell you, the people that live on that road are not happy. As
How's Alden Hill?
Different show.
As, you guys know, enforcing the speed limit isn't gonna happen. Seriously. A friend of mine went out there, he has a radar detector, he went out, caught side by sides going up through there at 67 miles an hour. Now, I'm not gonna tell you this is gonna happen over here, I hope it wouldn't. But what I am gonna tell you is, up in Milford, there's a junkyard for ATVs. Last summer, I took a friend of mine up, he needed a pack for a Polaris, and I showed him. Everyone thinks, oh, I'm in a side-by-side, I can't get hurt. There's a side-by-side up here that took on a cat. The front bumper was stuck in the passenger seat. So you better really think about what you're saying on this, because I'm telling you flat out. Access routes in time are needed, there's no way to get around it. But at the same time, be careful what you wish for, because for every guy like me, I'm disabled, I go riding, I'm not a fast rider. I just go out to take my grandson for a ride. But at the same time, I might go over to Hatford and have 14 guys out riding around. They don't know where they're going, they don't really care, and if they run over there and there's no stores, no place to go, they're not really gonna care what it's like, because they probably ain't coming back, so when they come back through, it's gonna be right on to him. Seen it, lived it, I've been doing this, I've been a club president since '98. So I've been around, I've watched a lot of this stuff happen. The rail bed in Jay, right now, we got $800,000 damage to that rail bed. They're trying to figure out how they're gonna get the money to fix it. Yeah. That's totally gonna be just wrong, but what I'm telling you.
What are you saying?
Every
ATV you see is going that fast?
No, I just said that, I just said not every ATV goes like that, but what I'm telling you. You open the door for every person that rides, you'll get the guy taking his family out, and you're also gonna get them guys that really don't care, because they don't care what it's like when they leave. Up on the rail bed, we had to put up signs on the edge of the bed to keep them out of the ditches. And, you know, they take signs down. They run it, so. It's up to you guys. It all falls on what you want, but. The ATV access routes are supposed to be just to get from point A to point B. And that's what they need. And.
That's what we're trying to do, can't get out of town.
Right, and that's what I'm saying, but just be careful, be very careful with your wish for. And the people, how many people live on that road that's here tonight? Okay, good. Now, you're the people that's gonna take the brunt of it. You're the ones that are gonna hear them going by. They're the ones that's gonna see what's going on. You people are the ones that ought to be talking to them. And when there's a problem up there, it isn't me and him or him that should get the call. You ought to talk to them and say, look, this has become a problem. And it should be up to you if that gets open, not me, because I'm an ATV rider and I'm from Jay and I'm a president of a club. It should be for the people that live with it. You make up your mind and you tell them what you want and go with it.
And at the end of the day, it is you folks that
We-
make
yeah.
the decision.
Right.
No, it would go to a town vote.
No.
No, it's us.
Should
The
go
board
to
of selectmen.
people that live on Staples Hill.
Should go people on the Staples Hill.
Yeah, but I don't think that's the way it works, right? It is the selectmen. that
That's why we
decides.
wanted, that's why
Get all
the Staples Hill residents got
Yeah,
the
so we got it.
postcards to say,
That's
please
what
be
we're-
here.
Yeah.
Cause honestly, we didn't want to make this decision without your input, because most of us don't live on that road, so we're not directly impacted. I mean,
Other concern is, once they get down Staples Hill Road to town, if they were granted the access, where did they go from there? Did they go out on 108?
No,
No, no.
Get hit
No,
by a
there's-
truck?
there's-
Where they
They would have to cross to the right.
They crossed the road.
yeah,
Who's gonna put up a crossing out there for them to cross the road?
they would have
So
to
these
cross the
roads-
road anyway now.
Hey, I've been taking my stone there all the
Yeah.
time.
There's already a four-wheel trail there in town.
Yeah.
I'm talking about crossing 108.
It does, they have to cross it there now.
Cross the
Yeah,
road.
they already do now.
Hang on a second, Brian. You had your hand up?
No, just what I see when you open these access routes. It just keeps kind of creeping, so now the people down here on 108 are gonna wanna get to it, people, you know, around town, so. They get 500 yards, so basically from the Big Apple, 500 yards in any direction would be legal. Outside of that, the guy that lives 600 yards away, technically isn't gonna be able to run the road.
Right.
But he's gonna anyway, and then the guy that's 700 yards, he's gonna, you know, it kind of creeps, so. Technically by law, from where that trail crosses, with the apple, whatever, you get 500 yards. On the extreme right-hand side of the road and get to the trail,
But,
that's where they go from there.
but technically, we already have that 500 yards.
Yep.
Because the trail's already there.
Yeah.
On this side, so technically we already have the 500 there.
Say if it wasn't, we have to go to the DOT and have them put signs up on 108 saying there's a ATV crossing.
Mhm.
I guess my question is. If this went through, I'd like the roads posted lower down too, you know, because if you look at the roads originally posted, I mean, houses that have put in for the last 8 years. Emily's, mine, you know, there's more roads, more kids. I think that speed limit should go down.
I think it should be consistent both directions,
Right, no, I agree. It's odd to me.
which I didn't realize.
Down 10 miles an hour, down 10 miles an hour.
But I think,
No, it should be that.
I think the compromise would be to lower down that speed limit, not only because the ways it goes around the corner and everything.
Well, we have Oxford County there. Will you guys enforce it if we drop it?
You can do that. Nobody follows the speed limit.
Oh, I know they don't. Yeah, we're on Canton Point. Trust us, we know.
Give them a ticket.
I agree with you, Paul, that the speed limit needs to be lowered on Staples Hill, for sure, just even for vehicles.
Yeah, I was gonna-
Well, I mean, yeah, it's 25 coming up the hill, but I'm saying like up the hill needs to be lowered
They go
down.
to 40 when you get up.
Yeah, it's 40 at the top of the hill.
How many people think 108 should be slowed down?
Or, wait a minute, rephrase that. I like the speed limit, but nobody follows it. I think it needs to be enforced.
They can't be everywhere.
No, I know they can't. I understand that completely. Yeah. No, I'm not blaming you guys. Trust me, I'm not. It's the mentality now. I mean,
It's the mentality.
yeah, yeah, it is. It's just,
That's not a rule, a rally track, but.
I think it was that, but I don't think it was. Obviously, the Canton end that you want access to is the Big Apple and where the trail goes down the railroad bed on the hillside. But where are they getting off on the Hartford side, or are we just going?
All the way to the
Church Street.
They have Church Street as,
Where are we getting on after we get into Hartford on Church Street?
Right after Pine Tree.
Right
around the side.
Yeah, to go to Bear Mountain, Bear Mountain, yeah.
All you can go to.
Bear Mountain.
Are the landowners willing to allow us to go through their properties to get down through Staples Hill without going on the roads? I mean,
No,
No.
I actually do own down by the water, and in the summer, we keep our boats and stuff down there, and you can't see. So, we do have a lot of people that walk down there, but, just having ATVs go by all this way, I mean, we have our rally pools down there. There's no, snowmobiles are different, we don't have our docks in, we don't have. our boats down there. And the hay fields are another issue.
okay, makes good sense, yeah.
Say, when Canton Club started, we wanted to go down the railroad. And the water district years ago had problems, people stayed breaking shit, staying shit up and. It was a total no, that like you said, up by the fields, that was a no.
That trail's too secluded
Yeah,
in the
And
summertime,
then it's
yeah.
uphill, you gotta. We'd have to have Brian design it and all that, you could put a lot of money into it and turn around and have to do it again, it's.
Well, that's what happened to the grades, right? They graded their hill, put all kinds of stuff on the
Yeah.
hill, and then it was just.
Yeah.
It
could be a headache, you know.
And that's all private land
That's right.
owners down there.
Yeah. We're gonna do what the landowner said.
I think it's a concern is really safety, and that road is heavily traveled year round. But in the summer, it is really heavily traveled, you know, from people that have camps and are going to the beach. And not just all the people now that live on Stevens Hill. And you can't get off that road. If you meet a car, you have to sometimes find a driveway to get out just a little bit so they can get by. And all we need is one fatality on that road, and you just can't get off that road to be safe. That is, you either are against the curve, or you're in the woods, or you're in a ditch that's 50 feet deep, and something's gonna happen. The more traffic you get there, the more chances you got. I don't, it's not a good access route, I don't think.
I think the problem is the only option. That is the option.
I mean, is there really nobody else that lives on Staples Hill that drives a four-wheeler and wants to get on the trail? I love getting on the trail. I have to do it legally. That's kind of bullshit.
Technically, I think you could get to Hartford for $500.
Go down the road.
No,
No.
my house is more than 500
No, I'm
yards
talking
from
about the other way.
home. Yeah, the other way.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's still quite a ways.
Yeah, it's far enough.
Go ahead.
Half a mile on the way.
It's got a nice parking ride.
Christine?
Thanks. One permitting and 2 signs. Permitting, the state DOT has established a process to permit such trails. Should the selectmen decide that this might be a good idea to consider, it seems reasonable to request that the state permitting process at least be reviewed to determine what is and what is not permitted on state roadways and how that's applicable to roadways in this town. Second, signs. Signs are governed by the Code of Federal Regulations. It requires a licensed professional engineer to decide what signs are going to be placed on a roadway open to the public. Absent a licensed professional engineer, we all can't just sit around and say, oh, let's just put up some signs. That's not how it works. It's the federal regulation.
Right, and he's, that's his
Should
part.
the town decide that this can be opened as an access, it's gonna require a professional engineer who knows the things about where and what signs can be.
Is this for us? Yeah.
I copied that before I came down, that's the state DOT standard, and hopefully if you read it, there might be some things that.
Okay, thank you.
And I wanted to clarify a few things. Number one, we prefer ATV trails to be off roads. We understand that there are issues, there are landowners, land changes hands, different people change. But, and it's not easy, but the clubs have to show that they're responsible and go to these landowners probably multiple times. I've talked to a lot of clubs who've had difficulty on certain trails. They said it's taken them 10 years to get permission from a landowner or 2. So I'm not saying you shouldn't be doing access routes. It's a part of trying to get through partway, but you know, the trails really should be off. If you can do it. And I know it's pretty hard when the club's just starting out. But the other thing I wanted to clarify is you can't blanket say this town has all their roads open, or this town has all their roads open. Most of them have a pretty specific route, how they go, what they do. And so as your club is working at it, you have to work with your municipalities that you're dealing with and work through that. And you can't fall back on someone else is doing this or doing that. We don't need to focus on the municipality and the residents in the area, because that's important too.
Dan?
As you say, the goal of every club is to have trails in the woods. But it's not doable. Sometimes you have to open the road access in order to get from point A to point B. It would be nice, I'd like to see the state reward every landowner that gives permission to put a trail across their property, so they'd be a little bit more flexible. But that ain't gonna happen either. In the real world, worse, every time even though we have road access in Hartford, our goal is still to look at alternatives, ways of getting, not to use a road if we can get through on a van. But it takes time, like you said, to one guy 10 years. it takes work to get that done. I spent nearly a month and a half just getting permission to go to Bear Mountain. And I spent 2 months, part of it in Peru, to get it over to there. It's not that easy. But our goal is we're still looking at other routes now in Hartford, the potential that we could probably go through the woods rather than take it a route. But I think that Staples Hill Road, I'd like, if nothing else, we should at least give us this summer to try it. And the season, if it doesn't work out, we can always resend it.
How many members do you have in your club?
17.
17, right?
17.
17 families.
And our first official meeting is April 15th.
We're probably ages 50.
Yeah, we just started. Yeah, we'll have more coming.
Brian, how many's in towns, Cantons?
We've got probably over a dozen.
We may be divided opinion in our house. We haven't actually talked about it. I am always for cautious optimism, right? And I understand the reason that you want to go up there, and I think it probably could give it a try. And I think we did some self-policing last year of a young person who was racing up and down there in a specific vehicle, and when we put it on Facebook, family members saw it and stopped it immediately.
That's it, get pictures.
So I'm cautiously optimistic that we can self-police to a certain extent, but I know that there are kids and dogs. You just gotta be careful.
Diane, what works good?
Oh, I know.
Picture of it.
I know.
Registration of the.
Yeah, go ahead.
When that goes back to, again, the ATV and snowmobile community have to self-police. And that's the point of having clubs, you know, where in areas that don't have a club or don't have posted road access and things like that, it's kind of the Wild West. People do whatever they want. But, you know, 90% of the ATVing and snowmobiling public are responsible. You know, I was out last week on a snowmobile. We encountered a couple dog sled teams. We pulled over and stopped and let them go by. You know, most people are that way. There again, you're gonna have the idiots anywhere doing what they want. And we as a community and each club have to self-police and call these people out, you know, and put a stop to it.
Are kids allowed to go down access roads?
No.
Yeah, because I was probably that.
Yeah, 16 to go across the road.
A driver's license is not required.
But it's an age requirement, right?
But there is an age requirement, so they need to be by themselves, they could be accompanied by.
And a proof of a safety course, right? Yeah, yeah.
And a helmet.
Thank you.
We write a lot of tickets for all those violations, so it's much like the signs we put out, people won't pay attention to the rules and regulations we put in place, or the legislation put in place, so.
Just one more thing. Should we expect more wear and tear? Should we open this as an access road because of these vehicles going up and down the road on Staples Hill?
If you invited every ATV or in the state of Maine about Staples Hill Road, you'd not know they went up there.
Okay.
Their tires are like 6 or 8 pounds.
If
we're gonna have to. Stay on the right.
If they stay on the pavement.
Right, as long as they stay on the pavement.
If they get off the pavement, they wear it.
Well, good luck at Staples Hill.
Yeah, you can't get off the pavement. in Staples, so-
You get past that, then you get this.
Exactly. And a big one.
The statement has been made by law enforcement that, you know, the state's not interested in enforcing laws and whatnot. And I would,
That wasn't said.
I would challenge
That
law
wasn't
enforcement, okay? Maybe I said it
The
wrong.
speed limits are unenforceable by
Okay.
us. There's no statute that says that you have to drive an ATV at a certain mile per hour speed. So we're not going to enforce a speed limit. We could enforce a reckless operation or driving to endanger if we can prove every element of the crime beyond the reasonable doubt.
But what was the section you said that
The district attorney's office across the board, and probably the sheriff's office would say the same thing. Their caseload is high. Our fish and wildlife, ATV, boat, snowmobile stuff is down here on the run. They're dealing with domestic assaults and burglaries and robberies and everything else that you see in the news. So that stuff is not a priority for them. Will they enforce some of it? Will they? Prosecute sometimes the right case. A lot of our.
You stated a lot of times, you'll write a ticket and they'll dismiss it out of aggregate.
Just to piggyback off that, if you're on Facebook and you look up Rumford PD's Facebook, you'll see even aggravated domestic violence.
Pay attention on what's happening in your DA's office.
Drug trafficking, all this.
It's crazy.
Just crazy amount of stuff that
Nobody's held accountable. But let me ask this, if you continue writing the tickets because, you can, and it's up to the district attorney whether they want to dismiss it or not, you still basically enforce that and you've inconvenienced that person at least to go to court and have it dismissed. So they're gonna learn a lesson.
But they also learned that they can get away with it at the DA's office, so they laugh at us for writing a ticket and tell us that they're just gonna go. It's kind of learned behavior over time, with COVID and all the stuff that happens. I've had dozens of people that say, go ahead and write the ticket, go ahead and stay in jail tomorrow.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want
No one knows.
That's not us. We are still writing the ticket, we're still enforcing it.
You're crying, Emily.
extremely frustrating, because it's a long process, right, before it's introduced.
For those of us that came in on the fence, and we came in to listen to both sides, we kind of feel like we've heard it. What's the best way to offer you our opinions without all speaking, at you at the same time?
That's what we were actually just talking about.
Yeah.
So what we're gonna do before everybody leaves, first of all, those of you that are Staples Hill residents, we want to get a count, so we make sure and we know how many are here. And then we're gonna do just a simple thumbs up, thumbs down, or
Just
stand up,
Staples
sit down.
Does my vote
Just-
count as a Staples Hill?
Yes.
Yes, it does.
And what if we haven't really, we want some time to think about it, can we just shoot you a message or something?
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yep.
Yep, send us a message, send it into
This
the
is the
town.
final
Yeah.
Yeah.
decision.
Yeah.
Our thought is we're looking more towards either the last selectmen's meeting in March or the first one in April to make a decision. Because we need a little bit of time to look through some regulations.
Right?
Yeah, we need a little time ourselves to look through some regulations, talk to some more people and,
Make a plan if we
Yeah.
even
we have
are
a
gonna
district
propose one,
yeah,
right?
yeah, we need to do some more background.
With
stuff.
limits,
So,
Paul,
I say, Dave, you got your hand
oh,
up.
Dave, sorry, I just saw green.
I suggest you don't ask people to stand up with a thumbs up or down in here.
Mhm.
I would suggest-
Or we can do it on paper too, if
Yeah.
that's,
Suggest maybe writing a letter to all the residents on Staples Hill and ask for your input.
because the one thing we had done for this is we'd sent a letter to everybody on Staples Hill request, telling them what was going on.
But you don't want to be a target here if you're.
Right.
against
Yeah,
it
good
or
point.
For it or.
Yep.
whatever
Yeah.
the case may be.
Good point, Dave, thank you.
Yeah, that
We
is
can do
good.
it that way.
When does the-
Yeah, we could do a
Yeah.
private ballot, just count, yays and
Should be
nays.
April.
April, it'll be too late.
I was gonna say, you could get away, you could get a questionnaire out.
Just write a simple
We
question.
can just send, that's, I mean, we can do a mailing anytime.
Get it sent
We already
back.
have. We sent them a letter, right? So all we have to do is just. put
Well,
that together.
you'd have to open it to you.
No.
Well, no, to Staples Hill.
No,
rather than-
it's me, and I'll do the rest of it.
Yeah.
Because it's only a 5 days.
It's not. Everybody who likes ATV.
You're right, in that regard, yes. In that regard.
Yeah,
you're
but
right.
more couple things on that form, okay, we have X amount of damage. Yeah.
And in that, when we do.
You can't just go.
I see what you're saying.
I don't, yeah, right, I.
You can't just go to people who work there Because a lot of the people.
preliminary, yeah, and then we'll do a questionnaire.
Yeah.
On top of that, if anybody who might not.
Right, and quite frankly,
Um,
99% of them.
and then. But collectively, I mean, any kind.
You going rogue.
Yeah.
Is there anything that has that you get attention on it? We're gonna run it short on time, so. As we're passing out papers, we're getting close to the end. Is there anybody that has a question, a comment that wants to be heard? Yes.
I do. Thank you. For considering, or at least considering putting it out.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
You know, we're hoping all those that are voting are Stapleton residents, just put either yes or no or undecided. Whatever your thought is, kind of gives us just a little background and direction and.
Anybody else? I want to thank you guys, all of your law enforcement and your club for coming, offering your input, answering questions.
I want to thank all the Staples Hill residents that came out and voiced opinions and concerns and ideas.
And if you have any more thoughts that you want to give us, feel free, either write it up and drop it off here in the office. Our emails are all listed online if you need them as well. Or call any of us. We want to hear what thoughts are and,
Do one more of these before we decide for,
I think so. I personally
Yeah.
think so, yeah.
just in case.
we'll make
Even if
sure.
it's before something's being or at the end.
Right.
Right.
You do it before a meeting. Yeah. We'll look at doing another meeting just so anybody that didn't have time to get their thoughts out can, or any more input, and then, we'll definitely let everybody know when we decide that, it'll be on our meeting agenda and go from there.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank
for
you.
coming.